Dear Chair of the Governing Body, dear Deputy Director Semedo, dear Independent Chair of the Council, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, delegates, colleagues, it's always a privilege to speak as the private sector at the opening ceremony. We here in the room can all be proud to have an instrument like the international treaty which helps to ensure that plant genetic resources for agriculture are explored, conserved, evaluated, and made available for plant breeding training and research. Indeed, the conservation and sustainable use of genetic resources are essential because genetic resources are the very basis of plant breeding. The design of a breeding program starts with the assessment of what is needed against what is available. Commercial varieties, land races, crop wildlife relatives, gene bank accessions. While it is important to underline that in modern plant breeding, more than 80% of the genetic resources comes from commercial varieties or elite germplasm, the use of other types of materials is key to broadening the genetic basis from time to time and finding solutions to some emerging challenges. As I would like to remind everyone here, several hundreds of genetic resources may be used to develop just one variety. Many times in the past, I've mentioned the private sector's critical contribution to sustainable agriculture, climate change, and food security through continued breeding efforts in over 80 crops, spending around $10 billion a year in innovation. But far more importantly, the seed sector is a contributor to protecting and enhancing biodiversity, climate change, through the continued release of thousands of varieties per year, through the multiplication of collections, reviving old collections, evaluating and screening of collections to increase the understanding of plant genetic resources, and as a bridge builder between gene banks and farmers. All to do what? To provide the good seed, because there are no crops without good seeds, because seeds are the vehicle for translating the genetic potential in crop varieties into desired outputs for farmers, as expressed by FAO Director Mr. Q. Empowering farmers with increased choice from a wider range of solutions that fit diverse needs is the shared vision of the private sector. Unfortunately, the reality is that in too many countries, farmers have seed insecurity. Here in Rome, we should all think about how we can do more concretely to help farmers by offering them solutions that are adapted for their needs. Farmers need access to as many solutions as possible. After all, farmer needs inclusive seed systems that would enable them through their different supply channels to source the seeds they need. In recent months, the private sector has taken a number of initiatives to raise awareness on the importance of seed security and seed resilience. From an informal partnership like Seeds for Food Coalition, through pilot projects like Cross-Sectoral Seed Resilience Initiative in Rwanda, and please join on Thursday during lunchtime the side event on these topics, and through formal collaborations with the World Farmers Organization, but also quite soon with one CJR. Our business model is driven by the desire to secure win-win situation for farmers. Therefore, this week, the work ahead of the governing body is a last chance to define the agenda and the direction for the coming 2 years leading to the 11th session. The private sector has made many proposals in recent years, many. And I'm saddened to say, often they were not even considered. Nevertheless, today I confirm that we remain committed to contribute to the process as we have since the beginning participated. As we invited observers, I can only encourage all of you to achieve results. In doing so, we cannot ignore the discussions at the international level on the questions around regulations on digital sequence information have evolved. We are concerned that the currently ongoing discussions on DSI could undermine the treaty, and in this form we need to reflect on that. More crucially, this reflection should focus on the need to find solutions which makes business sense and allow for a mutually supportive and harmonized implementation of the relevant instruments. In this regard, I would like to warmly encourage the governing body to look for solutions that address all plant genetic resources and DSI within one system. Any other solution will jeopardize the capacity of our sector to contribute to addressing the challenges of today and the future. In closing, I would like to reiterate that the seed sector exists to serve the needs of farmers by offering them value-adding choices. We continue to invest in the development of diverse seed options, and the more we have regulatory predictability in conditions of access and use of genetic resources, the more we will be able to build bridges to innovate and provide choice for farmers. I believe we can foster our capacity to empower farmers by building a real collaborative approach and spirit, like I see very often on the ground in the fields throughout the year. I think we can all agree here in this room that low quality seeds can lead to crop failures and have devastating consequences for farmers and their livelihood, and ultimately to food production in a given region, community. This week, you have important decisions to make because they will impact the future. Yeah, I'm saying the future of the treaty. We need to work forward, completing the enhancement process and improve compliance by parties. Let me conclude by emphasizing again, farmers have and need more choice of seeds. It is an elementary right for farmers to have access to good quality seeds of his or her choice, and I urge the governing body to remember this during this week's discussions. Thank you for your attention.